Okay, we're recording.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. This is Chairman Jesse Geller. Before we begin, I will confirm that all members and other persons anticipated to participate on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Randolph Micklejohn.
Present.
And Saul Feldman.
Present.
Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Nicole Perret.
Here.
And Nicole, you wearing two hats tonight?
Yes, I am.
Great. All speakers should identify themselves by name prior to speaking. This hearing of the ZBA in open session is being conducted remotely and in a manner that is consistent with the legislature's extension of provision initially made by March 12, 2020 Executive Order of the Governor concerning the now expired state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. This body is authorized to meet entirely remotely so long as adequate public access is provided. Adequate public access does not include public participation unless that participation is required by law. This hearing will or may feature public comment. For this hearing, the ZBA is convening by video conference through Zoom, as posted on the town's calendar, which identifies how the public may access the hearing. Be advised that this hearing is and that some attendees may be participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that others may be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided to members of this body are available on the town website and attached to this hearing invitation. The hearing will follow the agenda unless I note otherwise. Finally, before turning to the agenda, I will cover some ground rules that will permit clear and effective conduct of our business and help to ensure accurate hearing minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will invite each member by name to provide any comment, question, or motion. Please hold your own until your name is called. Please also remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking, and to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. Before responding, please wait until the floor is yielded to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in sidebar conversation with other members, please do so through me. Finally, each vote taken in this hearing will be conducted by roll call vote. For any public comment component of this hearing, I will first ask members of the public who wish to speak to identify themselves by name and address only. I will call on each by name. Please enter your name into the chat section. You can find the chat icon on the bottom of your screen. Click on this icon and the chat window will appear on the right. Our host, Nicole, will queue members in the order in which their request is received. Additionally, we will ask if members of the public who are calling in would like to speak in favor of or in opposition to a particular project. Our first case for this evening involves property at 52 Beverly Road, and this involves an application to construct a new garage that requires relief. Again, for the record, seated this evening for this hearing will be Jesse Geller, Randolph Micklejohn, and Saul Feldman. The hearing will be in the following order. We'll hear the applicant's presentation. We'll then hear from anyone who wants to speak in favor of this application, then from anyone in opposition. We'll hear the planning board report and the planning department report. We'll then hear from the building department, and then the board will deliberate and give its decision. If you do wish to offer testimony this evening, we ask that you speak loudly and clearly. Start by giving us your name and your address. Who's here on behalf of this applicant? I see Jennifer.
Yes.
Jennifer, will you waive a reading of the notice?
Yes, I will waive reading of the notice.
Thank you very much. Hope you're enjoying the summer.
Thank you. I hope all of you are enjoying the summer as well. And thank you
Great.
for your time this evening. So I'm
Sure,
here on
go ahead.
behalf of the owners of 52 Beverly Road, the Shawley family, Oliver, their son Ollie, Beth, and Ollie's wife. It's a very nice story insofar as this addition to the home is to allow Mr. and Mrs. Shawley to age in place, but also for their son to move in with his wife and young children. So the grandparents can also help care for the children. And it's a relatively small project. It is going to enlarge the current garage and increase the square footage of the footprint by 88 square feet. And it only adds about 279 square feet of living space above the garage with a couple of dormers. Now, although design review wasn't required, it has gone through two rounds of design review, or I should say several. We met with the Preservation Commission to lift the stay, and it was given to a subcommittee. And there were various design changes made to assist the neighbors' concerns with privacy and placement of windows and some of the roof design. So those were made. And the Preservation Commission unanimously lifted that stay back in March. And then when we went to the planning board, they were very pleased with the design and unanimously supported it. The only relief required here would be granted under 48 Section 6, or the Diedrich line of cases. I'm sure you've looked at the plans. Unless you want a presentation by the architect, I can go right into the legal criteria. That's up to the board.
Let me ask, I don't need to see the plans. I've reviewed what's available online. Randolph?
Don't need to see them.
Great, thank
Yeah,
you. Saul?
I don't either, Jesse. No, we're good.
Thank you,
Okay.
Saul.
We're good.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
Okay, so the standard under 48(6) is whether this proposal is going to be substantially detrimental to the neighborhood. And we would argue that this is a small scale project that's been reviewed by two boards already, and that it meets the criteria that the board uses to determine, to make this special permit finding under 905. The specific site is an appropriate location for such a use, structure, or condition. The use is not changing. It will remain a single-family home. The use as developed will not adversely affect the neighborhood. There will be no nuisance or serious hazard to vehicles or pedestrians. There'll be no site circulation changes. Adequate and appropriate facilities will be provided for the proper operation of this proposed use as a single family. And it will not have a significant adverse effect on the supply of housing available for low and moderate income people. In fact, it will allow folks, the parents to age in place, and also for the younger couple to have some assistance with raising their children. Very nice story. As I said, the design changes were made. There will be no new nonconformities created. The only relief under Section 6 is for the pre-existing non-conforming condition at the side yard setback on the right. The required side yard is 15 feet. It's pre-existing at 6.8, and this will bring it to 5.4. And as I've said, the Preservation Commission had some excellent ideas to reduce the massing and change the design and window placement a bit. So we believe it meets the criteria for a special permit finding under 40A6.
Thank you, Jennifer. I don't have any questions. Board members, let's start with you, Saul.
I don't have any questions.
Thank you. And Randolph?
Just a question about the garage. There's in the plans, there's a car drawn in the garage as proposed, but no vehicles in the existing plan, and it made me wonder, was the original garage, or is the existing garage a two-car side-by-side garage? Or
It fits a single. It'll fit a single.
Okay.
Yeah, they're one car.
Okay. I mean, I think you understand why I'm asking you. Looking at the photographs, it also has a, very wide horizontal looking door. And there seems to be some, spare, there's bike storage areas and so on next to it.
Yes, for bicycles and carriages and so forth.
Okay. I think that's my only question. Thanks.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Nicole, do we have anybody here who wants to speak in favor of or in opposition to?
No, we do not.
Okay. Planning Board, Planning Department reports, please.
Yes, good evening. I'm Nicole Perez, zoning coordinator with the Town of Brookline Regulatory Division. Planning staff finds the proposed addition to be a modest increase from the current garage addition and is generally consistent with the character of the existing structure and surrounding neighborhood. The reduction in the existing side yard is less than 1.5 feet and should not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the current structure. The design maintains the overall massing and rhythm of the house, which is similar to neighboring structures. The planning board unanimously supports this proposal. Board members found the project to be well-designed, modest in scale, and respectful of existing structural character. This requested setback relief is minimal and the additional volume appropriately scaled. The board appreciated the applicant's effort to address abutters' concerns through design revisions, including window placement and privacy measures. The planning board recommends approval of the site plan by Field Resources, Inc., dated April 10th, 2025, and the architectural plans by Bond Worthington Architecture, dated March 28th, 2025, subject to the following conditions. Prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit final floor plans and elevations stamped and signed by a registered architect, and a final site plan stamped and signed by a registered engineer or land surveyor to the Director for Regulatory Planning or designee for review and approval. 3, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit final elevations stamped and signed by registered architect to the preservation staff or designee for review and approval. 3, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit to the building commissioner for review and approval a site plan, floor plan, and elevations displaying the approval stamp of the Director for Regulatory Planning and evidence the Board of Appeal decision was obtained from the town clerk's office by the applicant or representative and recorded at the Registry of Deeds.
Thank you, Nicole. And Building Department?
Yes, so I have a memo here from Paul R. Campbell, Deputy Building Commissioner. The memo is dated today, July 10th, 2025, and he writes regarding 52 Beverly Road, case 2025-00025. The Building Department has no objection to the requested relief and will work with the petitioner to ensure compliance with the zoning bylaw board decision and applicable codes.
Thank you, Nicole. Board deliberation and decision. Saul, let's kick off with you, please.
Well, I'm in favor.
Great. Randolph?
Yeah, I'm also in favor. I heard the 40A argument, and I was looking at the assessor's atlas map in the packet, which I think is actually an important drawing for this case because it shows the layout of this long neighborhood. The blocks are long in this neighborhood because there's a hill. And the way that the land was developed, at least on this stretch and on some other parts of the hill, is that the lots are deep, and it's very characteristic of the houses to already be close to the side lot lines. So with respect to the 40A argument and the question of whether the building as proposed is substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming use, I think the existing non-conforming use is actually already fairly characteristic of this neighborhood. It conforms to a strong pattern in the neighborhood. The proposed change to that one side yard setback to go from 6.8 to 5.4 feet, I think is it's not a very big change, and I appreciate the reminder that this has been before the two other boards, planning and preservation, with respect to the design in its neighborhood context. So I'm ready to find that this is not substantially more detrimental and so on, in the words of Chapter 40, Section 6, and to vote in favor of the relief as requested.
Thank you. I agree with my colleagues. I think that it is a project that is not substantially more detrimental because of the further encroachment into the side yard setback for the reasons recited based upon our requirements under Section 905. So I am in favor of that finding, and therefore it is a grant of the relief subject to the conditions as read into the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll be back for the last case tonight.
Look forward to it.
Okay.
Great. Thanks. Okay, we are calling our second case, which is case number 2025-00006. This is an application to construct a new garage and deck requiring relief. This involves property at 133 Buckminster Road. Again, for the record, my name is Jesse Geller. I'm seated this evening with Randolph Micklejohn and Saul Feldman. Tonight's hearing will be in the following order. We'll hear the applicant's presentation. We'll hear from anyone who wants to speak in favor of the application, then from anyone in opposition. We will then hear the planning board and planning department reports, and then we'll hear the recommendation from the building department. And lastly, the board will deliberate and give its decision. If you do wish to offer testimony this evening, we ask that you speak loudly, clearly. Start by giving us your name and your address. And I see Ken Goldstein up there. Kenny, will you waive the reading of the notice?
I will, Chairman Geller.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Could I share screen, please? I have a Zoom that I think will be useful. Unless you'd rather not.
It'd be good, Ken. Thanks.
Thank you. Everybody, I'm Ken Goldstein from the Brookline Law Firm Goldstein and Herndon, and pleased to be with you tonight. Happy Summit to everybody. And we're here tonight to discuss 133 Buckminster Road and hopefully get a favorable decision. With me tonight are the owners of the property, Bram and Jennifer Shapiro. Bram and Jennifer, you want to raise your hands and say hi? And also the architect for the project, Mark 3 Stars of Verde Design. So this is another garage case. It's probably a little bit more complicated than the last though. 133 Buckminster Road is a wood frame single-family home built in 1903, located in an S10 district. I'd like to take a look at the map of the property. So you'll notice that that there's a generous distance between 133, the subject property, and it's abutted to the east, 123 Buckminster. You'll see why that's important later. The issue tonight is the garage. So the garage for this property is a bit of a disaster area. This garage was really a conglomeration of two garages and various other MacGyvering of structures over the years. It's a real mess. The Preservation Commission had absolutely no interest in the architectural significance of it. And compare it, if you will, though, to the very lovely carriage house, which is to the rear of this property. I'm sorry, to the side of this property. You can see it here for the next door neighbor. So one of the main things that this project is going to do is expose the lovely historic carriage house to public view, and that's why the neighbors are all in support and frankly excited about this proposal. So the application proposes to demolish the garage, construct a new garage structure and roof deck forward of where the existing garage is and attached to the house. At the same time, we're going to modify the driveway and construct a patio to the rear, or leave a slab as a patio to the rear. They require relief from side yard setback requirements. We can take a look at that plan right now. So here's the new structure, and here's the old structure. You'll notice, we've got a problem with side yard setback. Now, I think we can meet the criteria for solving that. But technically the requirement is 10 feet for a garage and 6 feet for a deck. There's a roof deck on the garage, by the way. Although not in the original denial letter, the proposal was recently cited for FAR, since the garage floor area, for the floor area of the garage is in excess of the 720. That's 360 square feet per parking space. So it's only an increase to a difference of 0.1 of FAR. So I would argue that it's de minimis. If you don't want to look at it de minimis, I think we can grant the approval for this under 5.223B as an interior space expansion of less than 130%. And I also think we could make grounds for a variance and a Dietrich argument as well. But I would strongly favor a determination that this is really a de minimis change. I'm going to call on Mark 3 Stars now to walk us through the plan a little bit. And you'll see we were at the planning board twice. They had some concerns with the first iteration. They approved the second iteration, and I think it's important to understand what input the planning board had and how we responded to their input. So Mark.
Good evening, zoning board. Ken, could you go back to the main site plan? I'm Cameron 3 Stars from Verde Design. Thank you. That's right where we want to be.
Yeah.
Looking at the site plan, one of the things that you'll see on there in the upper part of the site plan is the new 4-foot wide planting buffer at the rear. That was put on at the request of the planning board. Unfortunately, what it covers is, because the addition of the planting bed covers up the existing outline of the existing garage, and that garage towards the back of the property is actually 2 feet away from the side property line. So that it's difficult to see now with the added planting buffer graphic. So I just wanted to make that clear that the new garage is no closer to the side setback or the side property line than the existing. When our client Bram Shapiro approached me, one of the things we talked about was the place of the existing garage is one of the only flat spots on this site. They are located on a hill. The majority of the site is fairly steeply sloped, and so that area of the backyard was sort of the prime area for expanding sort of a larger usable area and play space. And so part of the idea was to move the garage forward, to open up that flat area of the site, but also sort of a bonus was the exposure of the adjacent carriage house. We'd gone through many iterations with this structure, and we looked at structures with gable roofs, gambrel roofs, various attached entry structures, and we ended up with which is essentially a rectangular box adjacent to the building. And part of the reason why we got rid of the roof was that the bay you see in the plan there. Actually, go back to the site plan quickly. You can see the bay on the existing building adjacent to the new proposed garage. That's the family room, and those when we had modeled a garage with a roof on top, it completely lost the view out of that bay window, and so that's how we ended up with a flat top roof. And then the evolution of the deck just seemed to follow, since the building was adjacent to the existing deck. You can move on, Ken. So that provided us with the opportunity to sort of have an expanded outdoor space. One of the issues the planning board cited was the large size of the deck, and we had gone through several iterations with them about their objections with that and the deck in the side setback. And one of the things that they the solution they came up with was to allow the deck to remain, but create a planting buffer on the deck, which is one of the things that's shown there in the plan of the deck, is that they had requested a 3-foot planting buffer on that side of the deck to, essentially help shield some of the, or diminish some of the deck structure from the adjacent neighbor. The placement of the garage also, for it not being further down slope, was really to get it up high enough so we could have a flatter grade to deal with. Now this is going to require some foundational work on our part, but there was some pushing and pulling with the driveway configuration on our first visit with the planning board. And so some of what you see here in terms of the narrowing of the driveway and the configuration of the driveway was a effort on our part, and with the help of a landscape architect, to address some of their concerns about how close the cars were to the street, and also some of the access points from the front yard to the driveway. I think what we ended up with in terms of the initial pass at the garage is we designed the garage and placed it there, and the deck really evolved from looking at the structure without a railing on it. And as you can see, the existing deck has pretty substantial railing around it, and since it was so adjacent and easily accessible, that the idea of sort of denoting an inhabitation of that space and providing railing sort of really softened the top edge of the structure, and that's how we ended up with this decision around the deck. And then that also precipitated some of the planning board's suggestions around a planting bed. There was also they were concerned about the original size of the play space behind the garage, and they had requested that 4-foot planting bed that you see at the side and at the rear. Is there anything else you can think of, Ken, regarding the planning board?
No, I think you've covered it, Mark. Thank you.
Yep.
So relief is available for these dimensional problems with the site. Under section 5.43, the structure itself can be granted relief if counterbalancing amenities are provided and the general conditions for a special permit are approved are met. Dimensional requirements for the driveway is under section 6.0412, where just the special permit conditions, general special permit conditions are needed. The counterbalancing amenities will, of course, be landscaping, and we've got a beautiful landscape plan that I can show you if I can get this to forward. That's my letters of recommendation. Sorry, guys. So here's our landscape plan, and it's quite extensive and quite well thought out. But you know, in addition to the typical counterbalancing amenity of improved landscaping, there's a lot of other benefits that this project will bring. Sorry, the dog wants to go out. That's that ringing bell you hear.
2 dogs in a row.
First off, the elimination of this eyesore of a garage is an obvious benefit to everybody. Pleasant, usable open space will be added. Parked cars, currently the Shapiro's park their cars in the driveway, and in fact, nearing the front lot of the front yard of the driveway, and you won't see parked cars in this driveway anymore. It's an ample garage for all the cars that they have or are likely to have. Also invasive Norway maples, which are predominate the tree life on the right side of the property, on the easterly side of the property, will all go away. The rear yard setbacks will be increased, and as I said earlier, this lovely carriage house next door will be exposed to air and exposed to be viewed by the neighbors who are fortunate enough to live near it.
Can you show sheet A03? I don't know if you have that in your slideshow, A03. No, I think you may. A03 shows the proposed elevation of the carriage house with that existing garage removed. Do you have that sheet?
I do have that, yes.
There you go.
So there you see how the carriage house will be opened up for view. We have letters of support from all the affected abutters, but most importantly from the owners of 123 Buckminster, the abutter directly to the right. We're asking for your favorable decision, and we're happy to answer any questions or engage in any discussion you'd like to have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. I have a few questions to kick it off. Can you tell me all the new nonconformities that exist? I know you mentioned FAR. Is there anything else? I think when I saw the planning board report, I noticed a few others.
New in other words,
New nonconformities.
FAR is new in that it wasn't in the original denial letter. The planning board, in their wisdom, realized that there may be a problem with the allocation of FAR to parking spaces, and so we were only recently cited for that earlier this week.
Did they exceed FAR before? Do they exceed FAR now?
We do.
Yes, they do.
Okay, so that's not a new nonconformity.
Right.
Okay,
That's
and side yard, do they comply with side yard requirements now?
No.
Okay, so that's a new nonconformity.
do they comply? It's an extension of a nonconformity. It's the side yard setback on that easterly boundary is 6 feet currently. Should be 10 feet, and it's going to be 2 feet.
The existing garage is 2.5 feet from the side, and the new garage continues to be 2.5 feet from the side.
Isn't part of it indented a little, Graham?
The existing, because it was built 100 years ago in 75, there are different setbacks. I think part of it is 2.5 feet from the side, and part of it is maybe 4.5 feet from the side.
Right.
Okay, so does the nonconformity exist today?
Yes.
Okay. On both side yards?
There, Mark, you can.
Side yard for principal structure and attached garage. I'm just looking at the chart in the planning board report.
I don't think we have a problem.
That's
with
what
the
I'm
side
going
yard
off of.
on the west side,
So-
the side yard is compliant.
So this is a new nonconformity.
No, there's no nonconformity with the side yard.
Okay, that's what I'm.
Westerly side yard.
Right. But I'm saying the side yard nonconformity, that's going to be 2 feet. Is it currently pre-existing nonconforming?
Yes. Because the
Okay.
garage, see, it's not in the same location, so you know, we can go back and forth about this, but the current garage, which is set back further, does not conform with side yard. It's as Bram said a second ago, part of it's 2.5 feet, part of it's 4.5 feet.
Okay, the current garage, it's a standalone garage,
Yes,
and the new garage is attached.
it's attached.
That's what's making the difference.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's attached, but it's not like attached at the foundation. It's attached by at the upper level.
Yeah, I think though for the building department, they view that as a critical difference.
Right. That's exactly.
And the driveway setback, that is a new nonconformity. You're proposing 4.6 feet according to this report. Required is 5, and you've got more than 5. Is that correct?
That's true. Originally, we had a lot more of that front yard where the 4-inch or 6-inch setback violation existed, but in response to planning board concerns, we kind of necked that down. So most of the driveway is conforming. It's just where it kind of funnels out to meet the garage door with, that's the only place where we've got a
Okay.
6-inch.
So where I'm going with this is I'm just trying to figure out what relief is appropriate given what you're looking for. And I think probably the easiest, which is typically, you know, the Diedrich argument, is not available.
Right.
So now what I would ask you to do, Ken, is can you just run through your 522B argument?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I had it there and I rushed right through it.
No problem. And also 905, if you would.
Right, what 905 is what I meant I rushed through. So, you know, the conditions for 905 exist. The site's appropriate for the use. There's no adverse effect to the neighborhood. There's no hazard to vehicles or pedestrians, and there's no adverse effect on local housing. And in terms of, so you wanted what was the other,
522B. Or are you still,
one second.
sure.
You're talking about
There's
three.
5
So
conditions.
we're talking about the FAR.
Yep.
So, this comes under the fact that there's a the proposal exceeds the FAR, but it exceeds it by less than 130%. So we have really it's currently like at 120%. So there's about 10% to play with there. And as I said, the difference is just a matter of a few feet. And under 4.05B1, you can grant this relief in an S district if the conditions exist and they haven't received a prior special permit for extension of FAR. It's an interior conversion, the way I see it. It's, you know, it's kind of arguable, but the aspect of the proposal that's putting us over is the interior square floor area of the garage. And it's less than 20% of the permitted gross the addition, I guess if you could call it an addition, is less than 20% of the permitted gross floor area. And it's not a combination, so it doesn't come into C. So I mean, I think all the criteria for the 130% bonus on FAR is there. Like I said, I think you know, given that this is a little bit of an unusual situation in terms of, you know, do we call it interior space or exterior space? I think the easiest solution is just call it de minimis, because it really is. We're talking about 0.01 FAR floor area ratio that it differs from
Yeah, I would, not that I'm making the argument or deliberating at the moment, I would clearly think it's interior space, and so.
Well, then all the better. If you think it's interior, then we can make the argument for 130%.
Your testimony is that the includable gross floor area is due to the oversized garage. And that's space inside the garage, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, so, okay. Board members, questions for Mr. Goldstein? Let's start with you, Randolph. And actually, if you have design questions, why don't you ask those of the architect as well?
Well, I'll ask questions and then we'll see who has an answer. Let's see. I think for this one we ought to have a drawing. Could we have the drawing, please, that shows the floor plan of the garage? I think which one is this? This one, I think this is A01.
Randolph, is this the plans?
Yeah. Can we zoom in so that we can read any of the letters or numbers? I mean, I have questions about dimensions, and I don't think we can do this unless we can read the numbers.
Okay.
On the proposed plan.
I don't really have that
right.
ability. I thought you guys had the plans though.
Yeah, Nicole, can you do that from the packet? This is the drawing.
The
It's the
newest packet that I
revised.
sent? Yeah.
It's the revised drawing. We had later drawings.
Yeah.
For this
Yeah.
case.
Let me find it here.
Wait a second. I might have just figured it out.
It's revised, dated 7/7, Ken, but I can pull them up. 1 moment.
Yeah, Ken, let's let Nicole do it. You're zooming, but you're really grainy. It's hard to read.
Okay.
Which sheet? Sorry.
It's the architectural plans A01. It might be the next page. There on the right. Sorry, Nicole, back up. It's the actual garage plan. So the question.
It's the first sheet.
Yeah,
and then...
it's no. That's yeah. That's fine. That's fine. So we just had a lot of discussion about FAR, being driven by the how the building department is recognizing square footage in the new construction. you know, that's the garage. However, whether it's, you know, the garage, and I'm actually not sure whether it includes any of the deck areas above, but I didn't. There's a section drawing that shows, you know, one car from the side, but I wanted to understand the size of the garage. You know, if this is triggering, you can call it de minimis or whatever, you know, whatever you want, but it's triggering some measurement of space beyond what is allowed. And I wanted to understand how necessary that space was. How many cars is this garage intended to accommodate?
Can accommodate up to 4 cars. Mr. Shapiro is a antique car hobbyist, and he'd like to be able to have enough room in there to bring his antique cars indoors to work on. So that's part of what's driving this.
Okay, that's helpful to understand. It perhaps that's related to the, and I reread some of the history with the planning board and the request about modifying the, you know, the area of the deck above, and, you know, seeing we don't need to go to this part of the drawing, Nicole, but seeing the planters that have been placed on the upper deck, with, you know, I guess those are intended to prevent people from sitting or hanging over the railing. And I would frankly be a little more comfortable with them if they were more than just large furniture, but at least understanding that the garage itself is driven by, or the area of it is driven by the desire to have 4 cars, explains why the building didn't just get narrower. Sorry, let's see. Ken, let me just ask this again. I'm going to ask it to you rather than ask Jesse, but it's returning to some of the question about the relief needed. You know, we've got the report from planning that has the row in the you know, relief as relief needed, as planning staff lays it out, with the top line being the proposed FAR in excess of both what is allowed and what is existing, and they indicate that relief of that is available under section 6. But are you not using that? Do you have a, is
They
that,
can't.
they can't? Why can they not?
Because to make an argument under Diedrich, you cannot have a new nonconformity.
But if the property is already existing, it's already non-conforming as it exists, and the
But they have
nonconformity.
a new side yard nonconformity.
Well, this isn't
That's-
about the
that-
side yard, it's about the floor area ratio.
That's correct. But in order to make a 40A section 6 argument, you cannot, in your entire ask, you don't simply separate every ask.
Mhm.
You cannot create a new nonconformity.
That was
Okay.
my. Well,
So
Okay.
Ken's argument, if I follow it, is it's really de minimis, so it doesn't really count.
I can make.
I don't necessarily ever buy that argument. But that's his argument.
I can make a variance argument too. If you look at the neighborhood map, you'll see that this lot is quite a bit smaller than most of the lots on that map, and creating a unique condition, and it prevents us from being able to build the kind of total square area that's just extremely common in that neighborhood. There's a lot of big houses and with you know, a lot of amenities that are expected in the neighborhood.
Yeah, let me just continue on that with my other question, Ken, and I'm just going to be honest. This is kind of I'm still turning this one over in my head. But when you showed us at the very beginning the page from the assessor's map, that showed the point that you're just making, the size of this lot relative to some of the others to the right and to the left. And they've all got a house sitting pretty much in the middle of the lot. But what doesn't show on the assessor's map are all the outbuildings, which are, there's a very strong pattern of them being typically at the back corner and separated from the house. I went and had a look at this in the field because it just wasn't available in the packet or in the assessor's map. In the absence of a Section 6 argument, I'm not sure whether that's really relevant to this board's decision, but I'm just noting it, that, and I understand why there may have been some difference of opinion and a couple of rounds at the planning board, because this, the way that this house attaches, the way this garage attaches to the house does break a pattern that exists very strongly in the neighborhood. But I'm going to respect the relief questions that we've got. I think I just had one other thing. What was it? Cars we talked about. Oh yeah, Ken. I think it was the architect said that the new garage was not. And I was confused with this because it didn't seem to be what the survey drawing was showing. Nicole, can you hand back up to the first sheet? Thank you. That the new garage was not closer to the side lot line than the existing garage, but pan a little more, Nicole, if you can. Does that mean this drawing is wrong?
It means, so if you pan up to the back corner, keep going up. So that hatch was added as part of, to get this drawings ready for this meeting, and also to incorporate the planning board's request for this new 4-foot planting buffer. Unfortunately, that hatch is not transparent, but
there's a back building corner of
you
the
can
existing
see,
garage.
right.
Yeah.
You can see there's a little jog in the where the two buildings link together.
Yeah. All right.
But the old building was built 2 feet from the side lot line.
Okay, Nicole, zoom out just a little bit, please.
Page A03.
Yep, that's good. That's good.
Shows the existing. Page A03 shows the existing with that 2-foot distance.
Got it. Okay, so the 2.3 in bold at the bold garage outline, that you're saying that's essentially the same as what exists at that back corner.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
It is shown on sheet A03. In the upper right corner, there's a key plan.
Yep. Yeah, I'm with you. I got it. Thank you. Sorry, one last thing, and this is from comments, I think, back to you, Ken. Can you talk about the importance of quote unquote exposing the neighbor's garage to public view, or whatever you said at that point? What's important about that?
Well, it's a lovely.
Who's it important for?
It's a lovely historic structure.
Mm-hmm.
It's shielded by its close proximity to the ramshackle mess of a garage that currently exists on the property. Nobody appreciates that facade of that property, and people who live in the rear of the Shapiro's house will be able to see it from now on. So, just overall increases the beauty and amenity of the neighborhood.
All right, thank you. No more questions.
Thank you, Randolph. Saul, questions?
Yeah, just explain to me why the Section 6 argument is not available here.
Because they're introducing new nonconformities. For 40A Section 6 to apply, there can be no new nonconformities.
Okay, I get that. So,
But they've made other arguments. Ken's primary argument is a special permit one. And as a secondary argument, he started to go down the road of a variance argument under 4810.
The main argument is 5.22.
Right.
3.
3B.
Yep.
Okay. Other questions, Saul?
Right. We'll just play that out. Why not a variance then?
Harder to get a variance than a special permit?
Right.
Okay. I got it. Okay.
Anything else, Saul?
No, that's good.
Great.
I understand that.
Thank you very much. Ken, anything else for your presentation?
No, that's it. Happy to continue answering questions if something comes up.
Great. Nicole, do we have anyone here who wants to speak in favor of or in opposition to?
No, we do not.
Okay, Planning Board, Planning Department reports?
Yes. I'm going to skip the first planning board meeting. There was a meeting on March 27th. And the second meeting, March 26th, 2025, the planning board reviewed and revised the proposal and acknowledged the improvements to the driveway setback and the overall site design. Nevertheless, some members expressed continued concern regarding the size of the garage and the roof deck and the minimal side yard setback, potential negative impacts on the neighbor's beech tree. Additional concerns were raised about the lack of setbacks around the proposed paved patio. By a vote of 4-3, the planning board recommended approval of the project subject to conditions requiring an increased setback and plantings and submission of a tree protection plan prepared by an arborist. The planning board recommends approval of the revised site plan prepared by Bruce Bradford PLS dated June 2nd, 2025, and the architectural plans prepared by William Bohan RA dated May 30th, 2025, subject to the following conditions. Prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit final floor plans and elevations stamped and signed by a registered architect and a final site plan stamped and signed by a registered engineer or a land surveyor to the Director for Regulatory Planning for review and approval. 2, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit a landscape plan subject to the approval by the Director of Regulatory Planning or designee. Final plan shall add a 3-foot wide planter on the deck along the property line and a 4-foot wide planting buffer along the rear and side property lines of the concrete patio. The counterbalancing amenities must be executed in accordance with the approved plan. 3, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit a tree protection plan for the adjacent birch tree on the abutting property. 4, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit to the building commissioner for review and approval of the site plan, floor plans, and elevations displaying the approval stamp of the Director for Regulatory Planning and evidence the Board of Appeals decision was recorded at the Registry of Deeds.
Thank you, Nicole. Building Department?
Yes, I have a memo here from Paul R. Campbell dated today regarding 133 Buckminster, case number 2025-0006. He notes the revised denial letter issued 7/8/2025, and he writes, the building department has no objection to the requested relief and will work with the petitioner to ensure compliance with the zoning bylaw, board decision, and applicable codes.
Thank you, Nicole. Okay, board members, deliberation and decision. Let's start with you, Randolph.
Okay. And I'll just say thank you for all the Jesse for leading us through the or answering questions about the relief as we went. It's important. It's helpful to me, and it's important in my decision, because I don't. I understand why the planning board, why some members had some objections to this. I don't actually think the design is particularly in alignment with a very strong pattern in the neighborhood of, big house standing in the middle, open space around the house, and a garage in the back corner. But I also have listened to the applicant's arguments, looked at the bylaw, and I don't think we have any basis to deny it. I think the relief that it needs is available by special permit, and I think the 905 conditions for the granting of a special permit have been met in this case. So I'm ready to vote in favor. I do just want to comment, though, and this is something that comes up on some other cases. I think somebody used the word ramshackle. I don't think that's an argument of any importance or merit or relation to the bylaw. I don't think that any structure or outbuilding that has been allowed to slide into decline has been neglected. Therefore deserves to be replaced with something else. And I'm saying this not only as a historic building architect or a retired one anyway, but as someone who appreciates the architectural fabric of this town and the work that people put into caring for it, especially maybe especially including um, outbuildings and garages for carriages and things that no longer are needed. I specifically reject that argument as a basis for supporting anything that's proposed here. But as I said, I think the relief is available, and I would support it.
Thank you, Randolph. I think that was well said. Saul.
Yeah, I think this is an improvement, and I would support it also.
Great. Thank you, Saul. So I agree with almost everything Randolph stated, with the exception of the notion that the board has no ability to deny the request. It's the applicant's obligation to make the case. I think in this case they've made it. I think they've made 3 coherent special permit arguments under our bylaw. So I think they've made an argument under section 6.0412. That's the issue with the design of parking. I think they've made an argument on the dimensional encroachment, side yard setback, under 543. And I think they've made an independent argument under 5223B with respect to FAR. And they've made that argument for side yard encroachment by offering counterbalancing amenities. And I want to underscore something that Randolph stated, which pertains to the tearing down of the decrepit or falling apart garage. Tearing down your own garage that's falling down is not to the benefit of the neighborhood. I know you think it's exposing an historic carriage house. You're doing the very thing you want to do. So I always sort of slap back when I hear people make that argument. Nonetheless, you've offered a robust landscaping plan that is a counterbalancing amenity. And the board has typically, where there's a robust landscaping plan that offsets the nature of the nonconformity, found that that's sufficient under 543. I think you also have met the requirements, at least the 4 applicable ones, under section 905. So for all of those reasons, I believe that you meet the requirements for those 3 special permits subject to the conditions. However, I would ask Nicole that in condition number 2,
Yes.
that you make a couple of corrections.
Mhm.
So on the second line,
Yep.
after the phrase that starts landscape plan,
Mhm.
include the following: indicating all landscaping provided as counterbalancing amenities. And then continue on with subject to the review and approval. You've got approval in there. Okay?
Okay. Yep.
So subject to that revision, it is a unanimous grant of the requested special permit relief. Thank you, everyone, for your patience.
Thank you, board members, and thank you, staff, for your hard work.
Thank you.
Nice to see you, Ken.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Our next case is case number 2024-00069. This is an application to construct a deck requiring relief. This involves property at 7 Fairway Road. Again, for the record, I'm Jesse Geller. With me this evening are Randolph Micklejohn and Saul Feldman. Tonight's hearing will be in the following order. We'll hear the applicant's presentation. We'll hear from anyone who wants to speak in favor of the application. Then from anyone in opposition, we'll then hear the planning board and planning department reports, and then we'll hear the building department recommendation. And lastly, the board will deliberate and give its decision. If you do wish to offer testimony this evening, we ask that you start by speaking loudly and clearly and give us your name and your address. Who's here on behalf of this applicant?
It's
Hi.
me, Doug.
Go ahead.
I'm here too. So my wife and I are both here. I'm just still at work. I'm
Representing
Doug
yourselves? Okay, will
Yes.
you, so to avoid making Nicole have to read what was published in the newspaper, will you agree to waive that?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Please go ahead.
Well, Nicole did ask us to read off that we are requesting zoning relief for setback of, is that what is in the newspaper? Section 5.43 of the zoning bylaw, which allows the board to waive or reduce setback requirements if counterbalancing amenities are provided. So if I provide the plan, what we want to do, can you see my screen? So this is 7 Fairway. I can zoom in a little bit here. Give me 1 second. So our house here is in white. What we want to do is build this deck here in our backyard. And you can see the house is set back from the corner lot. And so we have a large front yard and side yard. And what we want to do is have a deck for our family just to have dinner, which the backyard is smaller, but provides sort of where the privacy is for it. There's a door right here that enters into our house. Where the issue is the deck came close to our property line here. And what we first showed the board, let me get you a better, let me just bear with me for a second. This is the initial plan that we had sent to the planning board. You can see the staircase of it came down closer to the property line and came within, I think, 0.8 feet of this area. And so their recommendation was to move the stairs either down the middle or off to the side. And so we asked our architect to do that for us. And you can see the new plans here. We have changed the stairs to the other side of the deck. And then we will be planting, there's already, sorry, as a background, we landscaped this whole area per approval from the town around this time last summer. And then planted all these new trees in this area. And so a lot of this landscaping is here, but to help offset the proximity to the property line, we'll put in more plants in this area. And then as the planning board noted, on the other side of this property line, the neighbor's house is over here. There's actually a lot of trees and shrubbery already in this area to provide even more privacy on that side, but we thought we would add some more in here to sort of offset that. If you need more, this is the detailed plans of the deck itself in terms of its dimensions and height.
Can you tell me what the height of the deck is?
Let me zoom in here. To be honest, I didn't register that myself. It's 1.9 plus 3.2, so 5.1 with the railings.
Thank you.
And it's
Okay.
built on a slope, so you'll see that's how high it is on one side, and then as you go down the hill, that's why the other side with the stairs is taller.
Okay.
I
Do you
apologize.
want to, okay, is there anything more to your presentation, or do you want to go to the argument for special permit relief?
I have nothing else to say, I don't believe. Oh, I was told to say that we think this request meets the requirement for special permit under section 9.05 of the zoning bylaw.
Thank you. Okay, board members, questions. Let's start with you, Randolph.
Thank you. I've got just a couple questions. If we could keep this drawing up.
Oops, sorry.
Oops, it went away.
Yeah.
And I have a little background here because I've sat on cases on Reservoir Road before, and I also spent many meetings at for a project up on Route 9 at the top of Reservoir Road. So I've walked this neighborhood a lot, and I particularly understand the that it's a little busy. There's a school right there, and that I've seen this pattern of trying to develop usable outdoor living space behind the houses, because the front yards are kind of just big, deep, grassy lawns that are not places where people actually spend time. So I understand that. One thing I remember is that the land sort of the lots are all at different elevations. So my question about the height of the deck, Mr. Ma, you talked about the deck is 1 foot 9 inches. I think that's on the top of the drawing side, and it's taller on the end with the stair, and that's the corner that's closest to the property line. So my question is, the neighbor to the right on the drawing,
Yes.
they've got a wood fence, on their side. Is their land lower than your land or higher?
It's lower.
It's lower. Okay. So is your property actually sloping away? The deck is drawn as if the ground was horizontal underneath it, but is it actually sloping away from your house, do you think?
So it slopes downward. Sorry, I don't know if you can see my mouse.
Yes, I can.
It slopes downwards in this direction, towards these stairs here. And then on the neighbor side, this area on our side of the fence is very flat. And then they have trees here, and there's actually a decent, I would say 45-degree slope that goes straight down where there's shrubbery, and then it flattens out.
Okay. And then for the other neighbor, who's the one on Fairway Road, maybe you can pan up. It doesn't really show here, but on the on the
on this
surveyor
side here.
site plan, yeah, well, it's not that one.
there,
It's
yeah,
the Rosengrave drawing. It shows a brick retaining wall at that little section. You know where that is?
Um,
Off the
You see-
concrete paver patio.
Yeah, it's next to it's basically on your property line next to the existing patio. But so same question about the retaining wall. Is your land higher on your side of the retaining wall, or is their land higher on their side?
so they did a lot of landscaping 2 years ago. And so this area right here on my mouse is completely flat and level with ours. Their retaining wall starts around here and goes across, and it's just like a drop off, like
Okay, sorry, I'm talking about something else. Can you go to the land mapping drawing? That's the measured survey.
this one here.
Yeah, that one. Pan up.
That's as far as it goes.
Okay, you see the word wall?
Yeah, there's not,
Yeah.
it's before this is just there's the neighbors have a fence there now. Before there used to be just flat single bricks in a line. So it wasn't a retaining wall, it was just bricks demarcating the property line itself.
So
And so they got rid of all that, and now there's just a black metal fence in that area.
okay, so if you step over that line from your property to theirs, is one side higher or lower than the other significantly, or
Completely
not?
flat. They
It's
leveled
flat.
it out so it's equal.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Those are all my questions.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Randolph. Saul?
Yeah, do any of the abutters have any objection?
We've talked to our neighbors and there's no objection.
Okay. You have anything in writing from them, or just verbal?
I can get that, but it was just verbal.
It was verbal, and you're telling us that they don't object. Is it just
Correct.
one abutter, or is there more than one?
Well, there's this one with the one we've mainly talked to is the one where the deck is right up against.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And verbally, they've said they don't object.
Correct. I have it in text message if you want to, if I can screenshot it, but
Yeah, okay. That's my only question.
Great. Thank you, Saul. Good question. Okay. Nicole, do we have anybody who wants to speak in favor of or in opposition to?
No, we do not.
Okay. Planning Board, Planning Department reports, please.
Yes, the planning board recommends approval of the site plan by Kara Lamb RLA, and that should say dated May 7th, 2025. And it should say architectural plans by Patrick Rosengrave, PLS, dated May 7th, 2025, but it sounds like maybe there was a revision. So just want to clarify the plan date. Subject to the following conditions. One, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit final site plan showing the stairs to the driveway rotated, stamped and signed by a registered engineer or a land surveyor to the director for regulatory planning for review and approval. Two, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit a landscape plan. And I'm going to add your language here, indicating all landscaping provided as counterbalancing amenities subject to review and approval of the director for regulatory planning or designee. The counterbalancing amenities must be executed in accordance with the approved plan. And three, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit to the building commissioner for review and approval a site plan displaying the approval stamp of the director for regulatory planning and evidence the Board of Appeals decision has been obtained from the town clerk's office by the applicant or designee and recorded at the registry of deeds. That should be also added. And I have a note here from Paul R. Campbell, Deputy Building Commissioner, and regarding 7 Fairview Road, he writes, the building department has no objection to the requested relief and will work with the petitioner to ensure compliance with the zoning bylaw board decision and applicable codes.
Thank you, Nicole.
Jesse, can I
members
ask-
deliberate-
can I
Yeah,
ask a
go ahead.
question first? Nicole, on the landscape plan that in the packet, is there any, because it has a kind of a, you know, property master plan feel to it. Are there indications of elements on that plan that are specifically intended as the counterbalancing amenities?
That would be a good question for the applicant.
Okay, can I take that back to the applicant, Jesse?
Sure.
It's all the shrubbery and greenery and foliage that we're planting around the area.
Is that mostly in back of the house, in front of I'm not sure where.
both.
And we
So,
didn't
like,
look at it when we had the drawing up.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot I'm not scaring streets. Here we go again. Can you see this now? This is our planting plan. And so all this shrubbery is going to be new, all the shrubbery along the property line for privacy, et cetera, also new. Planted a new tree here, and then the town actually took down the one that was in our driveway, and then we planted a new one here that's not in the plan, but we just did that ourselves.
Thank you.
Want to set, Randolph?
Yes.
Great. Board members, deliberation and decision. Saul, let's start with you.
Yeah, I would be in favor.
Thank you. Randolph?
Yes, I'm in favor. It helps to understand the counterbalancing amenities in the form of the landscaping, which I think are quite sufficient and appropriate. And I think it's a reasonable and fairly modest project that is what I think a lot of people would do if they lived on a house on an open corner with some busy stuff going on nearby and maybe a big new building. So I'd vote for the special permit as requested.
Thank you. I think that this project meets the requirements under section 9.05. In particular, the applicant has proposed offsetting landscaping to screen the nature of the non-conforming encroachment into the setback. I just, as a side, would note, not that they're making the argument, but there are very few cases that come before us where it seems to me there is a parcel of land that shouts out variance. And this is certainly one of those parcels that would do that. So I'm thankful for the special permit relief. It's less intensive than a variance, but it just strikes me, the odd shape of the lot. So it is unanimous grant of the special permit relief subject to the corrected conditions. Thank you.
Thank you all for your time. I appreciate it.
Sure. Okay, we are calling our fourth and final case this evening, which is case number 2025-00027. This is an application to construct an addition with a deck requiring relief. This involves property at 216 Clark Road. Again, for the record, my name is Jesse Geller, and I'm seated this evening with Randolph Micklejohn and Saul Feldman. Tonight's hearing will be in the following order. We'll hear the applicant's presentation. We'll hear from anyone who wants to speak in favor of or in opposition to the application. We'll then hear the planning board and planning department reports, and then the building department will give its recommendation. Lastly, the board will deliberate and give its decision. If you want to offer testimony, speak loudly and clearly. Start by giving us your name and address. Jennifer, will you waive reading the notice?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Jennifer DePazzo Gilbert here on behalf of the owners of 216 Clark Road, Carl Zach and Andrea Cohen. Also with me this evening is their architect, Alan Christ. This is a relatively small project. The only relief sought here is for pre-existing non-conforming FAR. This proposal on Clark Road is located in an S7 district. The FAR in an S7 is 0.35. The current existing condition on FAR is 0.43. This proposal is to go to 0.46 or add 281 square feet with a new addition on the east side, which will allow for these folks to have a new bath, a closet, and a bedroom. On top would be a small roof deck. This meets all of the setback requirements. And again, relief can be granted for the pre-existing non-conforming FAR. That's the only thing required and increasing. No new non-conformities will be created and relief can be granted under section 6 with an appropriate finding. I know you have the plans, unless you want to see the plans. Alan Christ is here and can pull them up. Otherwise, I'll make my legal argument.
Board members, do you want to see the presentation? Randolph
No, thank you.
and Saul?
No.
Thank you. I don't need to
Okay.
see it. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Okay, so under 48 section 6, you can increase a pre-existing nonconformity. Here, this is FAR by adding 0.03 to the already pre-existing non-conforming FAR. The standard here is that this project cannot be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. And the board uses the criteria set forth in section 905. The specific site is an appropriate location for this single family use. The use as developed will not adversely affect the neighborhood. All setbacks are met. There will be no nuisance or serious hazard to vehicles or pedestrians. There's no change to the site circulation proposed. Adequate and appropriate facilities will be provided for the proper operation of the use. And the development does not have a significant adverse effect on the supply of housing for low or moderate income people. And I would suggest to you for those reasons, a special permit finding of not substantially more detrimental and an issuance of special permit is appropriate in this case.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicole, anyone here to speak in favor of or in opposition to?
No.
Okay. Planning board, planning department reports.
Yes, planning board agreed with staff that the proposed addition is modest in scale and fits with the style of the main part of the house. The board believes the addition will not negatively impact abutters or the surrounding neighborhood. The planning board recommends approval of the site plan by Michael P. Clancy dated March 27th, 2025, and the architectural plans by Alan Christ, architects dated March 13th, 2025, subject to the following conditions. Prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit final floor plans and elevations stamped and signed by a registered architect and a final site plan stamped and signed by a registered engineer or land surveyor to the director for regulatory planning or designee for review and approval. 2, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit to the building commissioner for review and approval the site plan, floor plans, and elevations displaying the approval stamp of the director for regulatory planning and evidence the Board of Appeals decision was obtained from the town clerk's office by the applicant or representative and recorded at the registry of deeds.
Thank you. And building?
Yes, I have a memo here from Paul R. Campbell, Deputy Building Commissioner, and regarding 216 Clark Road, case 2025-0027, he writes the building department has no objection to the requested relief and will work with the petitioner to ensure compliance with the zoning bylaw board decision and applicable codes.
Thank you, Nicole. Board members, deliberation and decision. Randolph, let's start with you.
I'm gonna go to my assessor's map again. I'm always fascinated by these because of this story they tell about land development of neighborhoods. Here we are again at the base of another hill, right, with lots sloping upward. And one of the interesting things about this property is that the house, it is actually on a slightly bigger lot than some of the ones to the right and to the left. And it was perhaps that was why the house, which is a rectangle, was put sideways, whereas the others are all, tall way. And what's going on in the neighborhood, this is one of those many neighborhoods in Brookline where you have the house on the lot, there's space on one side for a driveway, and then the house is tight on the other side. Well, this one had a little more room. So with respect to the relief needed for extending the non-conforming FAR, first of all, it's not much of an extension, and second of all, it actually it adds square footage, for the and front and bulk and the structure in a way that the person on the street, you can't really appreciate FAR, but what you do notice is the size of fronts of buildings and how close they are to the lot line. And what the architect has done is just put the new wing of the building close to the lot line, kind of just like all the other ones on the same side of the street already are. And I think that's it's gracefully done. It's one of the things that makes it okay. And it is why I'm ready to find that this proposal is in the words of Section 6, not substantially more detrimental, but it's quite characteristic of the neighborhood, and I think it's deserving of relief.
Thank you. Saul?
A question about abutters. Are there abutters that will be negatively impacted?
We don't believe so, Saul, no. And we meet this, we
Okay.
meet the side yard setback.
Okay, that's good. And so as I am reading my notes, the FAR is being increased from 0.43 to 0.46.
Correct.
That's right. Well, I think that's de minimis, and I think the addition, which is 281 square feet, is small compared to the size of the house, which is 3,852. So that based on all that, I think that this is a modest proposal, and I would be in favor of it.
Thank you, Saul. I agree with my colleagues. I think that I would support a finding that this is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. For reasons read into the record, I think it meets the requirements on at least the 4 applicable ones under 905 that we use to interpret substantial detriment. So that is a unanimous determination and a unanimous grant of the special permit.
Super. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very
Nicole,
much.
anything? Thanks, Jennifer.
Night.
Anything else you need of us?
No, that's it.
Okay. Thank you, board members.
Thank
Have a
you,
nice night,
Jesse.
everyone.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you,
Good luck
Jesse.
Good
next
night.
week, Randolph.
Thank you.
All right. Good night.
Thank